if I'm live on those platforms. Yes, I think I'm live in those places. What up, Instagram? What's up, Facebook? What's up, YouTube? What is up, LinkedIn? What is up, all of the platforms? Who did we leave out? YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. What's up, Twitter? How y'all doing? So tonight we are talking about the unfortunate incident that occurred in Cabo. A young 25-year-old by the name of Shanquella, please forgive me if I'm not pronouncing that correctly, Shanquella Robinson was pronounced dead a day after arriving in Cabo, Mexico for a birthday trip with a group of her friends. Okay, that's what we call them. Shanquella's mother, Salamandra, has been seen in videos which are now being widely spread on social media stating that her daughter's friends told her that she died of alcohol poisoning. They say she wasn't feeling well. She had alcohol poisoning when they first reported the story. They couldn't get a pulse. Each one of them that was there with her was telling different stories. A housekeeper eventually found her. Now listen, this is the part that just really breaks my heart. And I just, not to make light of this, but I just keep getting that, what about your friends? That just keep popping in my head. Like, how do you go to Cabo with people who leave you in a room to be discovered by a housekeeper? So anyway, it goes on to say, a housekeeper eventually found her dead body inside their Airbnb, her mother told Essence magazine. After struggling to retrieve Shanquella's body from the country, right? Because again, her parents are here and her body was in Cabo. After struggling to retrieve Shanquella's body from the country, her mother said that the autopsy stated that she died from being beaten. When the autopsy came back, they said it didn't have anything to do with alcohol. They said, Salamandra, please forgive me, ma'am, if I'm mispronouncing your name. Salamandra, I believe is right, revealed, she said that her daughter had a broken neck and her spine in the back was cracked. She had been beaten. Following her death, a shocking video posted on social media. I'm sorry, let me put this picture up for those of you who are on YouTube. Following her death, a shocking video posted on social media was able to uncover another part of the trip that gave insight into what possibly could have happened. The video shows, which has now more than 1 million views on social, shows one of the young ladies on the trip involved in a physical altercation. I don't want to show the video because it's just too graphic and it makes me angry. And I'm trying to have tonight, you guys, I'm hoping that we can have a conversation that allows us to come up with some solutions. Because at this point, obviously that's what we need. Anyway, the video has more than 1 million views on social media. It shows one of the young ladies on the trip involved in a physical altercation with a person they claim to be Shanquella. The video shows a moment when the attacker flung the victim by her neck, landing on the ground, then continues to pummel her in her head and neck areas. Other friends and onlookers during the altercation began recording the fight. Here we go again with this whole recording the fight. That's another part of what I want us to talk about tonight. I don't understand for the life of me why that happens, but again, footage from the fight is almost unbearable to watch, which we will not be showing here. Unbearable to watch as Shanquella receives blow after blow without fighting back. One of the people in the room could be heard saying, "Quella, can you at least fight back?" In pain, she answered, "No." Social media users flooded the video with comments, with many asking why others were recording the fight instead of putting an end to it. Other commenters posted, y'all, we're going to get into this conversation. Other commenters posted warnings to other young people saying things like, be careful who you call your friends. The family is continuing to seek closure and clarity. She had a heart of gold. She was loved by everyone, her mom told Queen City News, and probably won't be at ease until someone is arrested. So there is a hashtag going around, and the hashtag is Justice for Shanquella. That's SHANQUELLA. And for those of you who are watching me on YouTube and LinkedIn, this is another picture of the beautiful young sister who lost her life hanging around her so-called friends. So, guys, I want to open up this dialogue, and I'm really open to anybody who wants to share, anybody who wants to contribute to this conversation, because I have tried for many, 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 many years to try and figure out ways to change the narrative in our community that endorses this and rewards this bad B behavior, right? It's just so much out here that tells us that if you are someone who is reading the heck out of somebody, I'm trying to stop cussing, y'all. I'm trying. It's gonna, oh God. It's gonna be hard, y'all. Pray with me, bear with me. But we keep rewarding this bad behavior. And I have said before that I wasn't going to really address the Zeus network because, you know, on the one hand, as I said in my live earlier today, I'm very proud of the work that the network has been able to do in terms of the model, meaning you start something that you own. And, you know, at first my response was the same as it used to be with Fox Soul. You know, well, at least a Black person is running it. But, you know, you really have to ask yourself when you start looking at, you know, situations like the one with the girl, I believe her name is Krishan Rock or Christian. Forgive me if I'm butchering y'all's names. But when you see situations like that, where these young girls are just being rewarded for fighting and beating each other up and dogging each other out and disrespecting each other, it really just makes you wonder, like, you know, is there, can we change this? Like, are we too far gone? Zeus, someone says, V Brown, actor singer says, Zeus is a community poison. Forget who's running it. You know, and you know what, at the end of the day, calling a spade, as much as I want to be able to just be like, yeah, that's my Detroit brother. Like Lemmy, I would love to have somebody tag Lemmy. I would love to have a conversation with him and just kind of get an understanding of, you know, what the direction is. Because I think the other thing that we do, and I'm going on a little bit of a tangent. Mish, let me know if you want to jump in here. I saw you just come on here. Our conversation today, if you're not watching me on YouTube, which is, or our worth.tv. Matter of fact, let me pin that because you guys can watch me over there and you'll be able to see. I'm going to show y'all pictures from Centennial Weekend. I'm going to show y'all some video of Brownstone singing. And if you are watching me on Instagram, you won't be able to see that. But if you go to worth.tv, then you will be able to see all of it. Shout out to all my people watching me. I love y'all. Thank y'all for watching me. Shout out to my sorors of Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated that I know are watching and supporting. And I'm really excited to get into this conversation. So back to, again, let me, if there is a window for us to have some dialogue and figure out what it is, because I do think that our community has a really hard time agreeing to disagree and really being able to have proactive dialogue with people that they don't agree with, right? I'm learning that we have to really practice understanding how to communicate with one another, even if we do think that something is trash, even if we do think that people are full of sugar, honey, iced tea. We still have to start figuring out how to communicate with one another because we see all over the media. I haven't been following this Dave Chappelle thing because I don't even want to think about the possibility of Dave Chappelle being canceled because I understand exactly. I see you, Misha. I'm going to get you in here in a sec. I understand exactly why he said what he said. And I love Dave Chappelle. I think he is an amazing, smart man. And I just really hope that this doesn't go any farther. I don't know. Don't nobody even tell me because I don't want to know. I think we're really in a place where everybody is highly sensitive. And the slightest little thing turns into, old folks used to say, you making a mountain out of a molehill. And I think it's a lot of people in situations out here that are turning mountains into molehills. But one thing that I don't think is that at all, and I think really is a very serious issue that we need to talk about tonight, and we need to continue to talk about daily if necessary, is this bad B mentality, this mean girl mentality, this, you know, we just had to get over what happened with Offset, right? Which was horrible and tragic and terrible. But now we're seeing young women who are allowing themselves to remain in abusive relationships. You know, we're seeing young women who are going on vacation with friends or people that they feel and believe that they can trust, who are literally being beaten to death. And we are the only ones who are going to help be able in position to help change the direction of this madness. Because of course we need allies. Everybody needs allies, you guys. I'm sorry, y'all, my lash is sticking together. Forgive me. Everybody needs allies, but we have to start learning how to become allies for ourselves and for each other. And that's a really, really big problem in the Black community. I'm listening. I've been talking a lot. Let me see if I can get Meech in here. Let me see. Where you at, Meech? I'm going to get my boy Meech in here. Go live with Big Meech. Because Meech always offers perspective and great commentary, and I just need some help understanding. You know, I keep talking about ownership, and the reason why I talk so much about ownership. Hey, Brother Meech. Hey, Brother Meech.
Hey, what's going on, Latro, baby?
Baby. For those of you who are joining me on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Twitter, I have my good friend Meech. I'm sure you guys can hear him. Meech, I wish you had 2 devices because I will have you on in 2 places for real. Meech, give me your perspective on what's happening in our community with all of this mean girl, bad bee behavior that is constantly rewarded in the media. And now when we see a young, what I believe Shanquella was 25 years old, we see a young 25-year-old being murdered by people that allegedly, let's say that's one other thing that I done learned. Allegedly. That's the other thing we have to stop doing in our community. We always reading the headlines and we not reading the story. You understand? Got Christine Beatty gets credit for that one. Meech, what do you think is going on in our community?
Well, you said a 5-letter word that is what's going on, and that's media. But I'm going to make that a 12-letter word and say social media.
Ooh.
Okay.
Ooh.
What has happened? See, it's not that the mean girl thing never existed, because see, when we were kids, it was called peer pressure. When we were kids, it was a sect that we had that we knew not to be around and carried on because they were the troublemakers. They were street girls. They were the this and the that.
Fast girls.
Now that we have social media, now that we're living in a reality TV show mentality. Mm-hmm. For the likes and the clicks and everything. Everybody now is trying to top themselves for likes and endorsements to say, I'm an influencer, say, oh no, honey, you can't do that, honey. I watched this, honey. No, I'm not the one to be played with. I'm not that one. And so now that everybody got this little camera that they travel with called a phone.
Yeah.
We now are able to record it, in real time so that I can get my street cred. So as long as I get my street cred or whatever, see, this is what's making me famous. I get famous for doing all this, that, and the third. And so now when you see me at the McDonald's and at the roller rink or whatever, when you see me and don't recognize me, see, now all I got to do is sit up there and go live, but like, you know what, this beat I did this, y'all, and whip my neck and carrying on, and then y'all get to watch me put her in check. So then that way everybody can sit down and say, you better do that, bitch, girl.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. What is it? What, in your opinion, right? And for those of you who I didn't, let me expound a little bit. Meech and I went to high school together. We've known each other forever. And anybody else who wants to join in on this conversation, just send me a request because we talking tonight. But Meech, let me ask you this. What do you think the solution is? What do you think we as a community can do to change this whole bad behavior rewarded moment?
If we had the elders and the mentors to pull coattails again.
We got elders and mentors, but don't nobody listen.
The elders and the mentors don't pull coattails. See, they too busy trying to get likes and everything with the kids.
All up in the videos dancing, right.
They trying to be peers.
Yeah.
Versus being mentors.
Yeah.
So right now, it's one thing to sit down and to say, listen, baby, you better not do that, blah, 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 blah. But the mentors and the parents that carrying on also gave consequences. See, we didn't leave everybody to their own devices and their own wilds or whatever. We already said there was a consequence. You knew if you went tipping out your mama's house, she said don't go nowhere, but you want to be Miss Bad Tail and jump out the window. What did she do? If she got up and saw that you were gone, she locked that window. She locked her doors because she said nobody's getting in here. And you either outside cold or whatever the case may be. There was a consequence.
Right.
Nobody understands consequences these days because we're too busy rewarding the behavior. If
do you
the
think
mentors and the gate
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry. If the mentors and
the mentors and the gatekeepers were able to enforce consequences, if we had better trust with the police department, which we don't anymore because that shot to hell, okay? If we had better trust with those who are in authority, who could give decent consequences and appropriate consequences, okay, then we could curtail a lot of this because a lot of what's going on what's going to take it is that social media gets shut down and you can't post today. But then we got to look at the mental health issue because a lot of folks validate themselves based on likes or whatever. And if I'm not getting the likes, there's something that's wrong with me. So they internalize all of that.
Right.
So we have a twofold problem here, but the consequences got to be real because going to Facebook jail or going to Instagram jail, honey, is child, for those who live on this, that's enough to send somebody, into the stratosphere of anxiety or whatever because they can't post.
That's a whole another conversation. That whole validation and self-worth through social media, it kind of, that's a whole nother conversation. This is all a vapor, y'all. Look, and what's crazy is my husband and I said this. He said he went to go walk the dog and he didn't remember his phone. And he said at first, it was a reaction of anxiety, like I don't have my phone. But he was like, wait, I grew up my whole life like not having a phone in my hand. Like what's going to happen between here and there? And we've just been conditioned to think that these little devices that we're holding on to literally dictate our mood. And it's really crazy. And I said, well, anyway, so exactly. Consequence is a good thing that I think we should, start considering again. But these kids and these millennials are really at a place where they think that they're smarter than a lot of us. You know what I'm saying? They think that, they know, and they do know things that we don't know. A lot of it we don't care to know. But I think the disconnect there's a fine line between, in my opinion, this whole saying that you're trying to be somebody's friend and actually listening, right? And not coming and approaching our younger women and our younger girls with this authoritarian, posture. And that's hard for me. Like, you guys, I'm not even gonna hold y'all up. Like, I am from Detroit. We talk a very certain way. If you think about a lot of people from Detroit, we hard on them T's and them S's. And it's a lot. What I said and them D's, you know what I'm saying? Look, think about anybody out there from Detroit. It's just Detroit and Chicago, boy, we some hard talking ass people. But I say that to say I think that there is a disconnect between those of us who are considered elders or, veterans or aunties or whatever, and the younger demo. And I think we really have to figure out a way to truly bridge that gap. I think that there's so many people out here who want to listen, who want to learn. I was so geeked when Ari Lennox, gave us a shout out and she was just like, I love y'all and blah, 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 blah. And I have to think about, we so often, and I know this is kind of deviating from the Shanquella thing, but it's connected, y'all. I promise I'm going to connect this little bridge. So, Ari says, I'm a really big fan. You guys are amazing. And then I was looking at the incident with Kelly Rowland, which we about to talk about that too. Oh, we gonna get into this Kelly Rowland thing, baby, because that just pissed me all kind of off. But I have to remember when I say things like, oh, the 90s artists were so, we were so much more talented, or, we had, these kids don't know whatever, because there are those jewels and those gems in there like Ari, and it's like we so often get up on this whole, like, we know better because we've been there. I said it in my live earlier today, how our aunts and uncles used to be like, well, if I was your age and I know what I know now. Well, the whole point is that, hey, Soror, the whole point is that we really have to get into the habit of understanding that it's okay to be friendly and a listener with our younger, sisters and our younger, millennials, and still have the respect of being an elder. I think we just get this sort of, I'm gonna tell you what it is because blah blah blah, and we're more talking at them than having a conversation. And maybe that is the solution, like more dialogue where we're actually listening to each other and learning from each other. Because when I see division, which is a huge problem in our community, y'all, I know that people would love the fluff of it all, but at the end of the day, it's far too much division in our community. There are too many fights going on every single day. Not the ones as serious as the one that happened with Shanquella, but some of them are. And we're doing it because, like you said, likes and attention.
Attention. You know what? Let me offer this.
Yes.
Because I say this constantly when it comes to the divide that we have. Oftentimes, we as the elders are expecting our voices to come out of the youngins' mouths. We're not giving them the opportunity to experience life on their terms, because the whole proverbial passing the baton. Hell, we're over 50 now. Okay,
right.
Imagine this, and I use it as an example all the time. We praise Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. because we are in the shadows of what the work was.
Yeah.
But remember, he started this work in his 20s. And
ain't that something? When you realize how young.
So when he was in his 20s, the old folk, his mom and daddy, grandparents, and their generation of folk thought he was crazy. These young kids see y'all go buck in the system. Y'all ain't. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so now we are in the shadows of what his work was. Okay?
Yeah.
Still, he died. He was killed at 39.
It's crazy.
Killed at 39.
Yeah.
Okay. And so now, and I'm using it as an example because when we're talking about it, just take that across the board. Just look at music. Everybody got mad at Kirk Franklin. Our grandparents and stuff got mad at Kirk Franklin
because he was cussing,
stomping and carrying on.
Oh, okay.
And changed the landscape of gospel music. But Thomas Dorsey, who's known for Amazing Grace and all this other stuff that he's known to do, when Thomas Dorsey came onto the scene, Thomas Dorsey was the Kirk Franklin of his day. Okay, so everybody has that particular time where the young folk come in and
you know what?
System.
I could not agree with you more, but there's a difference though, Meech. There is a difference. What up, Pam? My look. Chairman of the board says she's loving this conversation. Okay. Shout out to, let me tell you guys real quick, make sure you guys are following at Pam_Price and the Bomb in Gilead. I'm saying it now so that I don't forget. We had a really amazing conversation yesterday. As a matter of fact, I have the image. Where's the image here for my folks that are watching me on Facebook and all those other platforms? It was Black Women in Tech Bridging the Gap. It was an awesome conversation. So make sure you guys follow her. Follow worth.tv and you'll get all that information. Great information. But back to your point about how the church is now mad at Kirk Franklin and before. There is a very big difference in the kind of music and the kind of content that is out here today. And I know we kind of still sound like our parents a little bit, but no, it's out of control. Back in the day, rappers were rapping about selling pharmaceuticals, we'll call it, because they were looking for a means to an end. A lot of them were born, it's like there was no economy in the hood outside of, pharmaceutical sales. So they were doing it because they had to. Today they're rapping about, like, I don't know how it is possible. And I ain't trying to pick no fight with nobody, but you know I got to tell the truth. How can you sing a song about mollies and Percocets and syrup and scissor, and then you find out this doctor somewhere been giving people scissor, and he got, I don't know, $20 million somewhere stashed away? Because, like, it's just different. It's like what we're doing now. We were living our lives and growing and evolving. Right now, it's like destruction. It's death rap. It's prostitution rap. It's, you know what I'm saying? Like,
and all because of us trying to condition the hood. See,
what do you mean by condition the hood? What you mean by that?
Because when we would fight the power,
right?
Okay, and we were about expression because we were developing a culture. Okay,
right.
The big gold, the asymmetric haircut, the pelly jackets.
That's culture. That was culture.
It was culture, right? Okay, and we were defining that for us. What has happened is, we started having kids, and those who did not want to parent their children, who wanted to be friends with their children, have allowed that next step up to what I call parenting 2.0. Because now you didn't want to parent, you want to be friends and carrying on. You want your kids to call you by your first name. And then on top of it, we tried to make the hood fabulous. See, we done this up there, made ghetto fabulousness the thing. Okay, when we were in there, we were fighting the power to get out. That was a means to get out. Now we done got comfortable staying in there, and we done redefined what staying in the hood means. So now, if it means that, okay, we're going to pop a molly or whatever, because now it's all about to get high, because I'm trying to cope, but I'm just trying to keep it real. Oh, we were keeping it real. They keeping it 100. Okay, we're going to keep it 100.
Right,
okay?
right.
And if that's what the mindset is, that all we're doing is reconditioning the hood to where it fits a narrative that really wasn't ours. See, we have allowed that narrative of being poor, black, and constantly in the abyss of negativity. We have now changed that to where it's supposed to mean something. To where if you
it is big business. It is trauma for sale, trauma to the highest bidder, death, damnation, and hell. It is crazy to me how, I said this the other day. Grandson in the kitchen, we gigging. Snoop, love you, but Murder Was the Case came on, and I'm just, murder was the case that they gave me, and I'm singing this, and I'm realizing, like, oh my God, I'm singing this with my grandson. Oh my God, turning. My husband's like, what are you doing? I'm like, oh my God, what am I doing? Like, it's not good. It's not healthy. Like, and we tend to, like, make excuses for all of this low vibrational, thank you, Stormy Wellington, stuff that we're consuming without taking any responsibility for how much damage is actually incurring in our communities as a result of us doing it. And we're the ones making we are the number one consumers of it, right? And what's crazy,
that's the part.
Yeah, all we have to do is just stop.
Doing it to ourselves.
Yeah,
we doing it.
Yeah, we are.
Because remember back in the day, it was all about the man. Oh, the man trying to keep me down.
The man, the people, them people is us. We the people.
And I like this comment, Pamela Price. She said, "Preach, and if you want out, some of us, if you want out, you have to somehow sell out."
Ooh, it's like being beat out of a game, jumped out of a game, huh? Right.
They beat you in because you got to get jumped in.
Yeah. Y'all share this video. Please share this conversation.
You got to get jumped in to prove that you can withstand something. But then if you want to get out, then you got to get jumped out.
Then you got to get jumped out. Yeah.
Part is usually catastrophic because usually there is no out. If you get in, there is no out.
Right.
And then when remember when we were in school, it was all about education, and those of us who were the brainiacs and carrying on, we were taught we were trying to be white. Here you go, trying to act white. You get white and carrying on, right?
Yeah.
Well, now education
trying to act white. That's so, man. They used to say that all the time. Does anybody remember that? Trying to act white. Trying to act white. What is that now?
Okay.
It's crazy.
But now, education is no longer the commodity that it once was, because right as we were transitioning into our young adulthood and coming out of high school, now the streets, if I can make more money on the street than I can in a year after going to a 4-year university, I can make in a week what you make in a year. Why do I need to go to school? And
right.
On top of that, this generation, our generation, has produced the most black millionaires.
Which is...
You understand? I'm still trying to get to that damn status. I'm still at the 17.
We are able, and see, that's the thing. You know what? Let me jump in and say, that's the thing I'm trying to get people to understand, right? Like, we, that whole you acting white, and she live in one of those white neighborhoods, and that's that. Listen, we are the consumers. Like, that's why there's so many of us now that we have social media, and social media has given us the opportunity to connect with one another and to showcase our products and have an audience for our goods.
Right.
We're making each other millionaires, y'all. You look at Courtney Adelaide. You look at, who was the group that did, it was like 3 or 4 friends that, I think it was Super Sin and Tokyo, 3 or 4 friends that became millionaires like the same year. You look at Mael Organics. You look at all of these amazing influencers that make all this money and are doing all this positive stuff in the community and in the neighborhood. And you tell me why we as Black people, as a culture, can't come together and have our own streaming. Look at Zeus. Zeus is a streaming platform that, whether or not you like the content that they're putting out, he is, by all intents and purposes, a successful business because he's getting the numbers. Now, for those of us who believe in quality over quantity, that's a whole nother conversation. But it's a whole nother conversation. When we go out and we do these live R&B concerts, right? When we go out and we see that we sell out venues everywhere we go, like Brownstone this weekend was just blown away at the fact that we had a completely sold out concert, and all of the women in that audience were women of Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated, right? So why in that one organization, we have so much opportunity to build wealth within our own communities. I don't understand why we don't pursue it in greater masses, right? Imagine more than one Tyler Perry. Imagine there being 5 or 6 Tyler Perrys. Imagine what that would be.
And it needs to be, because what happens, I was just looking at a comment today. Folks are mad at Wakanda or whatever because it's all woman power, ain't no men. The girls say the Hollywood.
Every warrior movie out since that and Woman King was about men. So now all of a sudden we get 2 movies in a year, and all of a sudden it's too woman centric. Whatever.
But
people get on my nerves.
The point is that if we have more than just the one Tyler Perry, okay, who has built the empire that he had. Imagine if Spike Lee had the tenacity when he was on top of the game to create and build an entire studio. See, Tyler has become the Spike 2.0 because he took the same energy that Spike did, and now he went and did the next thing. Spike introduced us and was like, listen, he had a whole string of movies and this, that, and that, told them that I can produce this on my own. I could do this. We can create an audience. Tyler did the same thing. Was like, listen, I don't need to. I'm a producer and I'm gonna find a distributor, and we gonna cast all Black and that. And now he has a studio.
But it evolves. So you had to have, and that's my point. Like, you had to have a Hattie McDaniel before you had a Spike Lee. Shout out to our soror Hattie McDaniel.
Okay.
Yep. You had to.
Right.
And then you had to have a Spike Lee or Robert Townsend before Spike Lee, and a Spike Lee before Tyler Perry, but the thing is, as a community, and this is something that I just to kind of reset the conversation, you guys, we're talking about what happens in our community that, endorses the bad bee behavior and the mean girl behavior, and what we can do to change it. And one of the things we kind of got on, a little bit of a tangent, but it's all connected. It's just understanding how to better communicate with one another so that we're not speaking more at them and we're having more dialogue and conversation. And then also just kind of what we can do to have more ownership over the properties that we create so that we can have more people like Tyler, like we just said, where we're going with this conversation. Imagine if there was more than just one Tyler Perry, if there was more than just one Issa Rae. And we're so talented and amazing and good at what we do. There's no reason why there shouldn't be, except, which brings me into the next part of this conversation, for the fact that I personally don't believe, and Meech, you know, you've known me forever. So you could tell me, you guys, I don't know if I was giving y'all an echo. I saw I had two actual mics going on Facebook and YouTube. Forgive me if I was. But Meech, you tell me. Do you believe, right? You've kind of been indirectly involved in the industry, okay? I'm not indirectly involved. You're in the industry, but I'm saying like you've been in close proximity to a lot of really successful people in the industry, right?
Right.
Do you think that some of the onus lies on successful Black people in entertainment to really reach out and lift our community? Are we doing enough? Is it too judgy to say that people need to be doing more? Because I ain't gonna hold you up. I don't feel like entertainers who have huge platforms and lots of resources, I don't feel like we have done enough to help heal the community that we gain so much from. We would be nothing without our fan bases. We would be nothing without people coming to our shows. We would be nothing without people watching. Not nothing, but we would not be as successful as we are. You understand? Without the support. Are we giving enough back?
I'm going to say, well, I'm going to say no overall, but I'm going to put a caveat on it. A lot of the people are looking to do stuff quietly. And I think what happens is that it's the quietness that keeps us at this disconnect. Because now we need to know what's being done out and in loud and in living color. Listen, I get you don't want everybody in your business. I get you don't want everybody come knocking on your door because you got coin and this, that, and that. I get it. But if the states and the federal government can sit down there and have open records cases because you won the lottery, okay, you the one, the Mega Millions or whatever, and everybody's all in your face to carry on, and you got to save the whale children coming out there just because you won the lottery. You have been given a platform, and you have been blessed to where you are able to change the trajectory and offer a sense of balance somewhere. You understand? Offer a sense of balance so that the narrative can be offset. All this negative stuff, the reason why it's so hype and carrying on is because, again, social media does it in real time. And it hits and it goes around the world in 2.5 seconds. Now, if we can have some kind of balance to where all of the good stuff, if those guys who are the doctors, the four friends that went to school, all four of them Black boys are doctors, okay? If the three guys out of Chicago who own the Black Bread Company that don't nobody really know about, the Black-owned bread company, the only one in the world, the Black-owned bread company, if folks can sit down there and get behind that, Oprah does a fabulous thing with Oprah's favorite things or whatever, but imagine if we have more people like Oprah to sit down there and highlight the good and carrying on. It will offset some of this narrative that we have with all of the negative, and we can get some sense of balance up in here to where the consequences of paying or rewarding negative behavior can be diminished, because we have a lot of positive out there that would cancel out all that old BS.
100% amen. Thank you, Meech, for that. And let me say real quick before I forget, I really appreciate receiving the bonus, and I'm sorry, the badge. Thank you so much for the badge. I believe that badge was purchased by Diamond Hood Grown. I really appreciate that. Pam says 100%, because the reality is any bad press or false narratives get amplified. Those with platforms got to shine a light on the good that they're doing. Absolutely. You know, I remember, and don't quote me on this because I don't know if this is really what it was or not, but I remember reading something that feels like years ago where Will Smith was saying that he gives to community. And again, don't quote me because I could be wrong, but I feel like it was Will Smith who said that he gives to the community, but he doesn't do it for, praise. and doesn't really make a big, to do about it. And I really believe that it's time for us to start making that sexy. I think it's time for us to start amplifying, the good that people are doing and making that cool. I personally believe that that's a really big reason why we're having the issues that we're having in our community, because we know that our kids are influenced by who they see winning, right? Like they're young, like it's not gonna really register to them like it registers to us. I don't give a shit about fame, except for what the platform affords me the opportunity to do, and the rooms that, having been on the platform, that it's brought me into, right? But like I was telling my sorors this week, and I'm like, okay, we singing and we appreciate y'all having us sing and everything, but don't forget about me when it comes to going and boots on the grounds in the community, and really, being actively involved in helping our people. Because when you reach a certain age in your life, you understand how important it is to make sure that future generations get it, because we're going to get older, right? And I think we start to recognize that, because a lot of us are caregivers for our parents. A lot of our parents are either, gone on to the afterlife, or, just, becoming older. So we are starting to realize that we are now like in that position our parents were in. And that realization, kids don't have to deal with that, because you got agile, spry, active moms and dads that you feel are going to be there forever. But take it from your girl who lost both of mine 90 days apart.
And I just lost my mama last year.
And you just lost your mom. When you start to realize that life is really about family, and life is really about building a future, and like somebody said, I'm a grown orphan, right? That grown orphan. Thank you for that, Real Turn Up Radio. That's some real shit right there. Oh, real sugar honey iced tea. I said I'm gonna try to stop this. But that's so real. And I think that if we could just figure out a way to speak the language that our youth can understand, and let them realize that, we are not your enemy. Like, I love every young black man, every young black woman. I mean, I love everybody, but I have a special place in my heart for our people, because I know that we have been the underdogs. I know what we've had to overcome. And I understand why our kids don't necessarily think it's like you want to be in the in crowd. And what's crazy is there's so many grown ass women, are adults, full blown adults, that are running around in these cliques, and you're like, what are you doing? How grown are you, my sister?
What they are doing is nurturing that inner child.
Ooh.
See, you got to see, and that's going to be big, and this goes into that mental health block, okay, and that whole big old thing. Most of the kids, we always heard. Remember, we always heard, oh, you going through a midlife crisis, and you going through a midlife crisis. It's not a midlife crisis. What it is that we're at a point where we have settled down somewhere to where we realize life got around us, and we never were able to be kids.
Ooh, So
now
that's crazy. Living vicariously.
Exactly. So where now you think, okay, for those who are successful and got a little coin, can go wherever they want to do or whatever, now you got folks looking up to you. So now you think that you're supposed to be just as young as the 20-year-old who you're competing against in the corporate world or whatever. So now you're trying to compete and say, I'm just as good, if not better than, because I got experience on my end. Okay. So
back to that talking down to and at versus having conversations with.
Exactly. And so, and now we're dealing with all kinds of everything, honey. We done got older, so what they say, what I used to do all night now takes me all night to do.
Right,
okay.
Right. What you say? Say that again. What was that?
What I used to do all night now takes me all night to do. So, now you have to deal with your idiosyncrasies. You have to deal with your inadequacies now, because now you break it down somewhere. Okay, I used to do 6 o'clock. So the leg used to go all the way up. Now it's at about a 4:15.
Yeah.
Okay. Hell, breaking down. You got medications. You got this. You got that. Honey, you got to wear glasses now because your vision.
Tell me about it. Preaching to the choir.
As we get older,
yes,
times and things change. So
yes,
now you're competing.
Yes.
I'm 52, soon to be 53 in March. So now there are moments where I'm competing with my 25-year-old self.
Yes. And that's a dangerous place to be in because, and it's funny, I said that on my live rant today. You guys, I've been doing a lot of live rants. I want to apologize in advance. Sorry, not sorry. I'm just sick of the bull sugar honey I see. But I said this, like, at some point we really have to get comfortable passing the baton. At some point we really have to understand that we've had our time. And that's not to say that you should pack it up and life is over. It's just we have to evolve into leaders. Like, we have to not be so consumed with acceptance from people who don't have their shit together, and they don't have their shit together with good reason, because they're young and because they haven't had a lot of leadership and a lot of examples of, there are a lot of examples of hugely successful women. Like, I'm blown away every time I'm in a group and I discover just how powerful and amazing that these Black women in America, in corporate America, in business, it's just so many of them out there. Thank you so much for it. Thank you so much for the badge. It's so many of them out there, and we don't know that. Our girls don't really recognize that. They don't see that. What we see amplified is, I'm gonna beat your ass, and I'm gonna da-da-da-da-da-da, and that is why we end up with situations like the one with Shanquella. Let me make sure I'm saying her name right, Shanquella. And we end up really, let me get into this too, to just switch gears a little bit. Speaking to the more mature folks out here, right? And the young ones who can understand the language. When you support any form of division among Black women, any form, talking about somebody's husband, talking about somebody's clothes, talking about somebody's financial situation, talking about somebody's personal health stuff. Anytime you are engaging and indulging in conversation that is disrespectful or hurtful to another person, you are contributing to the narrative that breeds people like the women who beat, allegedly, Shanquella to death. Right? Because there is no difference in watching a fight. One of these girls on one of these Zeus network shows could very easily slip and fall and break their neck in the middle of a fight. Or get thrown down and fall down a flight of stairs. Somebody could go home after being talked about because their clothes ain't as fly, or their house getting foreclosed on, or whatever, and jump out of a window. Like, you know what I'm saying? Overall, the mean girl, angry, hostile, awful shit. Nobody wants to have to endure that. Nobody wants to be broken and hurt and to be in a group of people, a clique, a gang of people, sitting up gossiping and bottom dwelling and low vibrational frequency living. It's just not something that our community can afford to have too many people do, because we're already at a deficit. So many people want to be famous. It's so many people out here that want to be successful. But when you look at, as I said again earlier, some of the most successful people in this industry, when you think about Michael Jackson, it gets no bigger than Michael Jackson. When you think about Prince, it gets no bigger than Prince. When you think about Whitney Houston, it gets no bigger. It gets no bigger than, you're not going to have a bigger career than any of these people. You're not going to be more valuable to this industry than any of those people who came before you, who left here in turmoil and hardship. So if those people, right, we're looking at what's happening with Kanye, we're looking at what's happening with Dave, we're looking at what's happening with Kyrie. And while we may not agree with all the things that these people are doing, why in the entire hell is it that when a person speaks up for the community, and even if what you're saying is, and this is, let me say this too, I have to say this. I thought about this today, and this is something really important that I want you guys to consider. Every time you get ready to attack somebody that's speaking out, usually when you have artists, Prince, Michael, Madonna, anybody who's ever spoken out about artists and the lack of equality and fairness and all of that other stuff, right? Keep in mind, these are people that are, have at some point in their lives been very wealthy, very popular. They're entertainers. They are not public speakers. They are not politicians. They are not teachers. They are not educators. We are not, and by they, I mean me included in that. We're not always going to articulate the message in the best way. We're going to say some shit 9 times out of 10 that somebody can replay, and it's going to, it's like, wow. We are not public speakers. We are not trained to have dialogue at the level that some of these politicians and teachers and educators, but we are very passionate about our people. We are and on top of it all, we're sensitive about the art that we create, that we give to our people. And the only thing we want from our people is for them to enjoy what the art that we create. And it is no different than an architect who builds a building. It is no different than a person who designs an automobile. It is no different than a person who designed a spaceship or a damn traffic light. What we are doing is putting our creative, artistic expression in a form of something that is consumable and something that is tangible and viable and very lucrative. And when we're robbed of it, when it's taken from us, when we're bamboozled and hoodwinked, speaking of Spike Lee,
come on,
and Robert Townsend, like every artist, y'all remember Hollywood Shuffle? We've all creatives try to explain to the best of our abilities what we see happening in this industry. And you got all of these people who have no idea what the entire FUs they talking about, who condemn us for putting y'all up on game. That's the crazy shit. The ones who the risk associated with speaking up and out against what is happening is very, very real. And what we should start doing is questioning and scratching our heads and wondering what in the entire hell is going on with people who are always propped up and put out front and showcased and supported and marketed and expounded upon and amplified, who ain't really saying nothing and doing nothing for the community. The risk that those of us who are really out here doing the work take, you guys, it's real. And no, we're not public speakers. And no, we're not going to always be able to word it correctly. And we don't know a hell of a lot about politics. But when we smell something is rotten in the cotton and we tell our folks about it, after all the years of the gifts that we share with you, knowing that it's coming from a place of love, you at least should consider giving those people some real consideration for the risk that they're taking, basically throwing their careers down the tubes to let people know what's really going on.
Or if we were able and can get ourselves in a position to where it's not throwing it down the tube, but we're absolutely building it. See, we have gotten to a point to where now, if everybody who are now one of the elites, we got so many new black millionaires and carrying on. If we were to take and to build the necessary underground, we do it anywhere else. We could build an underground to sell weed, to sell whatever else we trying to do. To say we keeping it real and keeping it.
No, he didn't say we could build an underground to sell. He didn't say that, y'all. He didn't say that. Not on my broadcast, he didn't.
Everybody, now that marijuana is legalized in a lot of the states that it's legalized. Everybody
only in places where it's legalized. Right. I got you, Meech. I got you.
Everybody got their own brand. Everybody got their own brand.
Tell me about it. Come on, baby. Yes, sir.
Want to get in on the coin.
Get on it. Get on it.
What I want to make sure is that we end up channeling that to where we end up doing something with it, to where those who are the messengers, okay, and the town criers and carrying on, those who are at the helm of making sure we're able to teach and articulate the things, that we have protection. See, one of the things that we don't have is we don't have economic empowerment for protection, because everything else, all of the other big wigs or whatever, they can say what they want to say, and Agent Orange, honey, is fabulous at it.
Baby, listen, they got lawyers on speed dial and on what you call it, insurance to pay for them, right?
He has protection.
Yeah.
At whatever cost, honey, he is being protected. A lot of the children are being protected. We don't have that kind of protection.
Right.
We don't value ourselves to say, listen, let's gather around and protect it at all costs. Whether we agree with them or not, we can sit up there and do the internalized beat your ass, quietly.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like you said. They say, look, you can say whatever the hell you want to say I can say what I want to say to you, but somebody else talk crazy to you, it's on and popping, right?
Right, exactly.
We don't have that anymore.
Like that, right?
Yeah, because you know it. And the other thing, one thing that I found, let me give y'all this tidbit as well. We have got to start supporting these kids that are in college, right? We have got to start supporting our youth that have made it through and are in college and trying to pay for their educations and trying to get through. Because let me tell y'all something. Lawyers are so necessary for Black folks right now, for every aspect of who we are, for every aspect of what we do in business. Lawyers and accountants are so important, and we really have to start encouraging our youth to start looking at opportunities to become, even if you want to be an entertainment lawyer or a sport, we really need, that is where at the end of the day, nothing speaks to a person like taking somebody's ass to task through the judicial system, period. And the problem is not enough of us have the ability to afford lawyers. And it's so important that when you hear about when a child says they want to be a lawyer when they grow up, do whatever you can to endorse that, do whatever you can to support that, because we've just really gotten so consumed with kids wanting to be entertainers and kids wanting to, be out here rappers and athletes. And that's the reason why we don't have successful long-term careers, because everybody wants to be out front, all up in the videos dancing, and we're not encouraging our youth to take those positions that help us to preserve that wealth, right? Nobody taught me anything about money management coming into this business. Nobody pulled me to the side and said, this what you do, this how you do it. And then you look up and you're in this vicious cycle of you already know what the entertainment industry is, what the sports industry is. We get paid a lot of money for a little bit of time. You understand what I'm saying? Like most of our friends who got real jobs doing better than a whole lot of us that's been in this business. Quiet as it's kept. I ain't said it. Ain't heard it from me. I'm just saying. These people have 401ks and money saved and, and the ebb and the flow of the entertainment industry. But we have this illusion of what success and fame is. And I'm just really tired of pretending like it is okay, right? And then when you speak up about it, so often when I talk to people about, a lot of the stuff I have going on in my life and career and this P Valley case and all the other stuff, folks are always like, you're such a fighter, you're such a fighter. Well, isn't everybody? Aren't we all, just as Black people in general, like that's just what we have to do. And the other part of it is just because you're standing up for yourself does not mean that you have to have animosity or anger towards anybody. I'm not hostile or angry about having the opportunity to prove myself in a court of law. I'm frustrated with the amount of time that it's taken for me to get to that day, but I'm not angry or mad or hostile about that. I'm happy that I'm in a position to be able to do it. And what I've learned through this process, going through it over and over again, because this is not the first time, is that one of the most important things in my career that I was never shown the importance of, and that message was never amplified. It's a good business manager and a good lawyer. And by good, I don't mean somebody who works for the other side. I don't mean somebody that's somebody friend, homeboy that they done referred you to, and because you don't know no better and you just coming into the business, and how we at 23 years old gonna know what lawyers and managers and shit to pick. Those things were chosen for us, but those things were chosen for, and I thank God. Let me say this. I had some really fair, decent people in my life. Now, did they teach me everything that I wish they had? Absolutely not. But those weren't my parents. Those were just people I was doing business with in this industry who happened to not be out for some of the stuff that some of my peers, had to endure. But it's still not fair, right? So,
right.
I encourage, when I say long-winded, that we help young people who are pursuing being nurses and doctors and lawyers and accountants and business managers. Yeah, we want to encourage people to be entrepreneurs, but we need people in those positions to read those contracts, right? We need people in those positions to help us count that money and know how to manage it properly. Because when we turn 52 and 53 years old and we look back at the mess that was created as a result of not knowing shit, and we look at how much money everybody else has made because they did know, right?
Right.
because they
Right.
did have someone in their life, either an uncle who was an accountant or a father who was a lawyer or whatever, that taught them how to manage things properly. They're far more successful than we are. And it's really sickening when you look back and you realize how many people you put through college and none of them are your family members.
Ooh.
When you look at how much generational wealth that you've built and people got to stay with you because they ain't got nowhere to stay in your family. You
How
understand what
about
I'm
that?
saying? So we got to really start thinking about that as we start talking about what some of the solutions and problems are, is to really sow into the younger community. And by doing that, we will definitely start changing the direction of these high profile, because, and the reason I go so hard in entertainment and athletes and stuff is because, and Misha, I'm gonna let you get in on this, but the reason I go so hard for us is because we have tens of millions of people following us. Everybody
Yeah.
loves a rock
Yeah.
star. Everybody loves an athlete. Everybody. So since we have these platforms, y'all, we have a responsibility, peers in the industry. Like, we really have a responsibility to preserve our legacies for future generations and to help inspire our kids to be something other than mean girls and bad bitches and abusive and drug dealers and drill rappers. Like, for real. Because if we don't change it, Shanquellas and takeoffs are going to happen continuously over and over and over
Over
again.
and
I'm sorry.
over.
It was takeoff. I'm sorry, not offset. You guys, charge it to my old auntie brain. Forgive me. Derek just reminded me. I must have said offset. I meant to say takeoff. Please forgive me, offset. Y'all know I meant takeoff. Pam says, not to mention we have the largest amount of college debt and the least amount of conferred degrees. That's crazy.
I know. See, let me add this to this, because see, one of the solutions, and I really wish that we can get away from this, but it's so part of the game to where I don't know how we would ever get away from this. And that there is going public with everybody's salaries. See, a part of what we have, why the limelight and carrying on is so that way, and why everybody is always this, that, and the other, and why we chasing fame and all that. Because you hear the athlete, you hear the children sit up there signing, oh, you just got paid $150 million over the next 5 years for this basketball contract or whatever. Or so-and-so just get paid $20 million for this particular movie, and carrying on it. And you get stuff on the back end because the contract says that, oh my God, they're going to be set up for life. Why is it that all of that is becoming public knowledge about my business? Okay, all of that is public knowledge. So now that the public knows all of this, now, number one, you don't make me a target, because those who got ill will, honey, okay, they're going to want to break into my house and think, or figure though I got it like that. Oh, you can handle it. You got it. Everybody coming out the woodwork wants you to pay all their damn bills. Oh, you got it. You good. But it's mine. It's mine. And then what you don't know is I got a whole entourage of folks that got to sit down and get paid. I remember, I think it was, oh God, what's the name? Jim Carrey. Well, he got paid $20 million for Ace Ventura. Okay, there was a whole big thing about that.
Right.
Well, they did the math, okay? The manager got 10%, so-and-so got another 15%, this got 15%, By the time they got through doing everything, that $20 million gross became $5 million net that he ended up taking home, because the first 15 was payroll.
And now imagine having the same amount of payroll, but instead of getting $20 million, you getting $500,000.
How about that?
When Taraji mentioned how much money she got for Benjamin Buttons, it was an atrocity.
Okay, right.
So
right.
I just once again, black people of color, before we start talking about everybody else and what they doing to us and what they had did and what they not doing right, we have got to figure out how to come together, because no matter what, y'all, I'm telling you, I know this to be true. It happens in everything that I've ever been involved in my entire career. When we come together and we unify, we come together and we work together as a unit, right? We are just more successful. Just the fact alone that you got, I don't know, maybe five that I know of for sure, probably significantly more African American, Shea Moisture, Main Choice, Mael, what is it? Carol's daughter. What's the other one? Auntie Jackie's. Like you got all of these dope black hair care products that are all making millions and millions of dollars. Why? Because everybody uses a little something different of everybody's product. Right? Let the black hair care industry be the example of how much space there is in the black community for us all to succeed. These women are all Cody, shout out to Cody High School. Meech Courtney went to Cody High School. Shout out to Courtney Adelaide. Shout out to Monique from my L. Shout out to, everybody, just all the amazing and incredible Carol's daughter. Shout out to all these amazing products where there is enough room for all of them to thrive. There's enough room for all of them to be successful. I say it all the time. If R&B divas stayed unified, right. if we said right. No matter what, we a team. We in this together. We came in this together. We leaving. We rolling out this mud together. We will all still be there making money. If we all demanded collectively together, instead of me being the person to walk away and then Faith walking away and then Kiki finally deciding and then Angie did. If we just stuck together, we rolled it out as a team and a sisterhood, we'd all still be making money, right? So at the end of the day, it all boils down to what we can do to thrive and to continue to be financially successful and mentally, emotionally, and spiritually successful. And that is something that happens in a group setting. Like nobody wants to be the only person. Imagine, and this is a little bit of a graphic analogy, but imagine you go into a room, right? And somebody gives you a plate of food, right? And you don't know where you're going, but you come to this house and you go into this room and somebody gives you this fabulous plate of food and you got wine and shit. And then they sit you down at this table and then there are 10 other people at the table, but they don't have food. Those people are all starving.
Right.
Is that the person you want to be? Do you want to be the person that has the entire plate of food and your entire community, all these other people are sitting there starving, haven't eaten, have nothing? Like, how does that make you feel proud? It is the same thing when we start talking about opportunities in entertainment, opportunities in business, opportunities to come together and to collaborate and to work together, right? If you are the person who has all the pieces to the game, but you've got designers and you've got people who are great colorists and you've got people, people who are great, I said colorists, I don't mean that. But people who are great at various other aspects of this game, and you're going to hoard it to yourself just because it belongs to you, is some bullshit. Like, give back to your community, share the wealth, share the knowledge, share the information. And I promise you, if we do that.
And that's big right there.
That's it.
Share the information piece. Because for so long, we come from the generation of I got mine and I had to struggle to get mine, so you're going to have to struggle. I'm not going to tell you nothing. Because
that's dumb as hell.
I'm not going to make it easy for you. And I was like, what? I didn't ask you to do it for me. I just said, what was the steps that you took? What is it? What's a pitfall? Some of the stuff that's on the job training that ain't in the textbook. Okay, what are some of the things? And that their information is power and it is key. But also, we have to make sure that when we disseminate information, that we also have the resources that information holds. Because oftentimes we just say shit and we know folks don't internalize it. We just say it to be saying it because it sounds cute. Okay, it's just like saying, oh, God bless you, honey. Oh, bless your heart. No, and okay, you don't mean child bad. If you got the right slur on it, I know what you say there, whatever. Okay. So right now, being able to disseminate information and to share information with one another is key. But we also got to make sure that you give it to me that I'm gonna understand it, and you're not trying to talk over my head and carrying on using 16 letter words when you know, honey, that I'm not gonna get all that. And then on top of it, you give it to me and then expect for me to get it all in one spot without wanting to answer questions. Okay, the step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I'm saying, well, wait a minute, you glossed over 4. And you ain't listening. No, wait, hold up. Well, never mind, honey. Just go buy my book, and it's all in my book.
And just keep it moving. Just get my book, right? Just get my book after you done paid $796,000 for the doggone panel discussion.
Okay.
Listen. So first of all, thank you again. Hold on, wait. Someone else bought a badge. DJ Cat Eye, thank you so much for buying the badge. I really appreciate it. Shout out to my people that are watching this conversation on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn. I really appreciate that, you guys. Make sure that you guys are following both brownstoneofficial.com, which is the Brownstone website. I'm about to play y'all a little moment that we had during Centennial. I'm about to play it for y'all just in just a second. And make sure you're following WIRF, WIRF.TV, which is our YouTube channel. Please like, subscribe, and share this video. And then also WIRFmedia.com, which is the media company. It is all about ownership for me, you guys. It should be all about ownership for all of us. That is the way that Tyler Perry has been able to build his empire, because he's been able to own and license his content. I learned that from people who worked very closely with him, who also worked very closely with me. And that is the reason why I'm always such an advocate for ownership, because when you own something, they can't shut you down. And I think that we have seen, there's always a way for, powerful people to try to shut you down, but it makes it more difficult, and it's a much more difficult fight if you have ownership of the things that you create in your businesses. That means that people cannot tell you.
From across the board.
Yeah.
Tell everybody to look at that from across the board. It's just like when you're in your house. You know the difference between owning a house and renting one?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know the difference between that. See, when you rent it, a lot of times renters take advantage because the responsibility ain't yours. If you put a hole in the wall, you're going to complain to the landlord, or you have the luxury of getting up, moving to a new house because you don't like that one.
Yeah.
If it's yours and you own it, you know to put the security system up so that these fuckers don't come in and break in. You know that you got to take care of that because it's yours. You know you're the one that got to pay for the hot water tank when it go out.
That's it.
Okay.
You pay. You treat stuff different when you own it, when you're responsible for it. And the biggest thing about ownership is the actual equity. Y'all, let me give y'all some real conversation right here. So R&B Divas was clearly, and I know I keep going to this, but these are the lessons that I've learned. These are the shows that taught me these lessons. R&B Divas was a very, very big show. Most people are more familiar with R&B Divas than they are From the Bottom Up. From the Bottom Up is the show that I produced with Queen Latifah and Flavor Unit. Yeah. So many people say that. So many people really love that show. We're going to have to do a reboot. And if I wasn't in the middle of this lawsuit, we would have had a reboot, but that's a whole nother conversation, neither here nor there. But From the Bottom Up was a critically acclaimed show. But let me tell y'all the difference. So R&B Divas, I did not own the show. I created the show. I cast the show. I flew everybody down from all these various places. We put our own resources into it, but because I did not know the importance of ownership, because I didn't know that I needed to be an owner to really have a real opinion on what happened with the show, unfortunately, everything went haywire and amok. I ended up in a lawsuit. They didn't pay me for a very long period of time. I ended up losing everything. It was a financial disaster. It was terrible, right? And then, right before I was supposed to go to court and figure out what was going on, that is literally a week before that, Maxie died tragically. So everything that happened after that is a blur. Don't ask me what happened with that case because I can't even tell you. All I know is that my sister, my best friend, was gone and nothing else really mattered. So shout out to my attorney who handled that. Again, it's all a blur. But my point of the conversation is R&B Divas was a hugely popular show, right? Everybody saw it. Millions and millions of people saw it. Ain't no secret. We were told by the then president, not the one now, that this show actually, the network was going to go dark. And this show is the thing that kind of brought it up and made positive, great things happen. From the Bottom Up aired on BET Her, which is the show I created after R&B Divas. The two things that stand out for me is when I went in to pitch this From the Bottom Up series that I created, which Christine Beatty, who was in the Kwame Kilpatrick controversy, Kim Smedley, who did the illegal butt injection, Sarah Stokes from Making the Band, Crystal Wilson, Stacey J. Johnson. It was women who had been at the top of their game, hit rock bottom, and were rebuilding their lives from the bottom up. And From the Bottom Up is also the title of the first Brownstone album, right? So we're being creative here. Go in and have a conversation with Latif Shakim, who runs Queen Latifah's company. And he says, I said, hey, I have someone who will help us fund this show. They will be my partner, my financial partner. I want to be a co-owner in this. Shakim is like, oh, so you know what you're talking about. That's the only way to go. I will have the conversation with BET Networks. I will negotiate the deal. Shakim negotiated the deal where we were co-owners of the From the Bottom Up series, right? So as co-owners with Shakim and Latifah, right, I had the opportunity to have more control over the narrative. As a result of having more control over the narrative, we actually put a serial child predator. I'm going to say this to y'all again so y'all can hear me real good. Because we were able to have more control over the narrative, right? And it was a show that we owned. We were ultimately able to put away a serial child predator who had been molesting women and girls in the community, young girls in the community for over 20 plus years. It was Sarah's biological father. So we started doing a documentary film, documenting that, which has not been released yet. It is a very, very powerful piece of work, and we're going to let it come in its time. But my point is, he was molesting a little girl across the street. Then we found out that he had been molesting Sarah's friend, and he was molested. And we sat and watched this man get sentenced to 30 to 60 years because Sarah was able to go on our show and sit down with a therapist, talk about what happened to her. So a little girl goes across the street and asks the lady, like, who is Sarah talking about when she said she was being molested? And one thing led to another. Feds came in and they got his ass. And not only did we, because we were able to own the show, this is what this is about, ownership and control. Because we were able to do that, not only that, it was From the Bottom Up, which was less popular than R&B Divas, that put me in a position to really start rebuilding my life financially. Now with this damn lawsuit, all that shit is down the drain. But financially, it was the most lucrative and support because there was a co-ownership scenario. And I'm very grateful to Shakim and them for allowing. So ownership doesn't always look like what's most popular. You would think that I would have more financial success from R&B Divas, but R&B Divas was really the thing that resulted in my almost complete financial ruin. And it was the show that people didn't know and people weren't familiar with. That was the thing that helped me rebuild everything that I've now leveraged all of to now have ownership of Soul Kittens Cabaret, known to some of y'all as another title of another show that I won't name. So we got to really, when I'm not going to make this the long-winded 2-hour conversation, but we've really got to start being more transparent about where we are as entertainers and athletes and influencers and people with really huge followings, like in real life, where we are mentally, spiritually, financially, because a lot of people are leaning on us for hope and inspiration. A lot of people feel like, if they can do it, I can too. And I think we owe it to our future generations to let them know that this industry needs a lot of work. Now, mind you, I love the fact that we're able to make a living entertaining people. I love the fact that we're able to have partnerships with major distributors. I'm not saying that artists should go around demanding their masters. I'm not saying that artists should go around demanding 100% ownership of everything. But I am saying that we need to get into the habit of developing partnerships with people and having some real say in the images and the narratives that are put out, because I'm proud of what we did with From the Bottom Up. And many people don't even know the work that we've done because it wasn't able to reach as many people. Why? Because they put the budgets behind the drama. They put the budgets behind the mess. They put the budgets behind the stuff that killed Shanquella. Right? And we just, you guys, we just have to stop doing it. We watching these shows and we saying we just love them and they just so good and it's just entertainment and this and that and the third. You guys, it's destroying our communities. It is. Drill rap is destroying our communities. Mean Girls and Bad Bitches is destroying our communities. And for those of you who like, oh, it's just too much. How you gonna say all that? This just one situation. It happens every single day.
Every every day, and then we sit down there and we keep replaying it. See, that's what we got on replay. You sit down there, you rewind it, you saved it, you DVR'd it.
Constant loop of trauma.
Yeah, we talk about this all the time. And I want to say this because it's going to sound cliche, but I want y'all to take this across the board. And that we have to prepare for what life will look like over 50. There are a lot of these kids, a lot of them, the reason why we have this tragic situation with Shanquella, did I say her name right?
Mm-hmm.
We have this tragic situation because a lot of these young kids, they do not see life beyond where they are. They don't see themselves investing in their future because everything is right now. Everything is right now. I'm famous right now. I got the Gucci bag right now. I got the Prada shoes right now. Okay. But what we as elders have got to do a better job with, and that there is teaching folks how to prepare for life after 40. Mm-hmm. Because it's after 40 that everything starts to change, when everything starts to look differently, because the world is through a different prism at that point. Because with the first time that you could say, oh, that was 20 years ago, and remember it, bitch, you old. In the eyes of the world and the law and carried on, because we celebrate everything about life is about youth, a young culture, young. But we do not prepare ourselves for over 50, and that's across the board. Whatever kind of job you have, whatever your bank account look like, whatever your mental state is, or whatever your body is, if you're not taking care of yourself, how you eating, how you exercising or not exercising, hell, y'all see, I got to have dental work and this, that, and the other. Yeah. You have to prepare. And you have to understand when you outgrow something, that is okay. What does it mean to reinvent yourself? We got fabulous examples. Tina Turner, Cher, Diana
Baby,
Ross,
yeah.
LaBelle. Okay, these children, honey, have always been folks who have reinvented themselves. What does that mean? Only you can answer that.
And Real Turn Up Radio, I see you. Listen, Real Turn Up Radio said, and the only great thing about getting old is you beat the alternative. You just beat the alternative. Listen.
Okay.
You better know it, Meet. You're absolutely right. And you guys, listen, I promise you, for those of you who are younger that are tuning in or will watch this in the future, just understand, we don't have there is no benefit to us saying something to you that will hurt you, will harm you, will lead you astray, will put you in a situation where you're not here to win. And nobody outside of your family and your real friends and the people who really care about you, we care about each other. We have a responsibility to make sure that, we are okay, right? We don't have anything to gain from telling you something that is not right. I never question, even though we didn't want to hear certain things, and yeah, we were smart asses here and there, I never questioned when my elders, my aunts, I never questioned when they said something, and I can always go back to what they said and really be able to lean on it in my life as a young adult. You guys, as much as you want us to listen to you, we need y'all to listen to us, because, we're telling you this because we wish that someone gave us this information when we were your age, right? We're sharing this information with you because it will help you. Some people are out here telling you shit that is no good for you. Some people are out here saying things to you that are not going to help you, but we aren't. And I think who has good intentions for you and who doesn't. And I think one thing about, Black women who really care, genuinely care, Black men who really care, people from LGBTQIA community who are from our culture who care. The one thing I can say, we all want the best for our future generations, period. We want you guys to thrive. We want y'all gonna take care of us when our asses, talk about getting ready for 50. Some of us getting ready for 60, baby. Some of us getting ready for 70. Some of us are getting ready for, so we need y'all to be healthy. We need y'all to be successful. And when we're trying to hip you the game, when we're trying to tell you this is what happened, we're saying it because there is a benefit to our overall wellness and our overall community. There is nothing that a young person can really do for me, not in a negative way, but there's no reason that I would leverage your wellness, for anything you could potentially give to me, right? You know what I'm saying? Because I've seen behind the curtain, and I know it's just a little short ass man who is green and don't know what the hell he doing and barely reaching the controls. The wizard, you understand? So Meech, tell the people who've been watching where they can find you. I know you do your YouTube thing. You got to invite me on your show. You never invite me on your show. That's some bullshit. But anyway.
Oh, good. Okay, we got to re-bring you back, girl.
No, I'm talking about the one that you do at night when y'all be kikiing. I come in there and listen and eavesdrop on y'all.
Listen, everything about me, I'm dishing tea with Big Meech, honey, and I'm over on YouTube and everything, but if you want to find out, the quickest way is to go to my website. That's www.dishingtea.com. Okay, and it connects you to everything there, all of it, but Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. What's the other one? It's something else. Okay. Oh, Black GDP. I'm over there on Roku, Black GDP TV. Yeah. So we have a number of things coming down the pipeline, and I'm excited. I'm regrouping and carrying on. Y'all know I've been in this thing for a little piece of a minute. At one point in time, I thought all of us was going to go to that California thing together, but it wasn't my time.
He talking about when members of La Trope, when we went to California after seeing Dead Poets Society.
We were all supposed to do that together, but Demetrius has something else to do, and I didn't understand it at the time. Well, now, we've been able to do some things, and we're rebranding, redoing some things now. So my motto for 2023 is making my dreams a reality, TEA. In 2023. So there's what we're shooting for. We got some projects coming down the line, some filming projects. I'm directing and carrying on. So we got a number of things coming. So with all of that, I'm taking your advice, sister, because I'm watching you go through this. I'm hearing you drill it in my head. I sleep it, I dream it. When you keep saying ownership and caring, I'm going through trying to get paperwork done and making sure I know about the Library of Congress, but I'm like, no, it's other shit I got to know. So we try to get all of that together so that when it's time to present and it's out there, the intellectual property is of integrity, and it is not going to be wishy-washy.
Let me tell you, the most important thing you can do for yourself, y'all, and I learned this late, so I'm telling you guys, and please pay attention to it. Trademark, copyrights are everything. And the trademark and the copyright are two different things. If you want some information, DM me. I will make sure. I got great attorneys. Trust me. Learned a lot in this process. Got some great attorneys out there that can help you guys with your trademarks and your copyrights. And, Writers Guild registrations are cool, but you want to make sure that you register a federal copyright. Right? Super important. Yeah. And then also, even if you have a copyright, like in the case of mine, which has been there since 2004, 2006, 2010, several times, right? Even if you have a copyright, sometimes you still are in a position where you'll end up having to fight for it. And that is where those lawyers and those nurses and those accountants and those young people that I told you we have to support, because I already know once I win this case, baby, the investment that I'm making into future educators and lawyers and nurses and doctors is going to be off the chain, because it's too important for us to support those youth that are out here trying to do. If you don't have a good lawyer, you got so many brothers waiting behind bars that just don't have an attorney. You've got so many people who have been put in horrible situations who just cannot afford proper legal advice and accountants and stuff. So I'm gonna make sure I sold really heavily into that. Real quick, Meech, you said something about dishing tea. You guys probably can't see this if you are not on my YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, but I'm showing you a picture right now of Brownstone and our soror Amy and our Grand Basilisk, who's an amazing woman, both Amy and our Grand Basilisk, Rashida Liberty. We were just at Centennial. Meech, you talk about dishing tea, and baby, let me tell you, this picture, the next picture I'm showing you is Alexis, Aaron's sister, who crossed Sigma Gamma Rho, and her soror. Holla at your girl. Here's a picture of all three of us. I just love these images. I think they're absolutely adorable. We had a ball. celebrating Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated. And let me just be clear, because you mentioned TGIF, TIA, whatever. So someone brought to my attention that the Fox Soul Show, what is it? Not Dishing T, you're Dishing T. What is it? That TGIF show. I'm gonna show you guys the brownstone thing. That TGIF show. Somebody mentioned to me that our dear sister Claudia Jordan wasn't quite clear what the deal was with Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated. So I just like, you know, when a sister's not in the know, you know, and shout out to Al Reynolds. I'm sorry. Shout out to Al Reynolds, who, you know, very politely, you know, let her know what was really going on. You know what I'm saying? But Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated is not a junior nothing, okay? I think what Claudia was probably trying to say is that we're, you know, one of the youngest, right? 1922, right? And we have 7 founders who are educators, very, very smart women, right? Butler University in Indiana, it was a PWI. That is a predominantly white institution, dear Sister Claudia. In that predominantly white institution, these women, these educators, these smart, amazing, incredible women of color, right, at a predominantly white institution, decided that they were going to create this amazing organization over 100 years ago, right? And this organization does so much good in the community, right? We've got Swim 1922. We've got, just so many things. And we really do work. My girl, Rashawn Ali, said it best. She said, I love all of Divine Nine. She said, but I have to say, Madam Grand Bachelor's Rashida Liberty, and all of y'all in Sigma Gamma Rho are really doing the work. And she really shouted us out for being an organization that was founded on a PWI, right? So what's really cool is that they actually had to walk past the Klan's house to get this thing going. So it's some real powerful, amazing, incredible women in Sigma Gamma Rho. Sister Claudia, thank you, Funky Dineva, for letting her know that I am representing that blue and gold all over my timeline. And I'm representing it that way because that sisterhood is real. They show up for me and I show up for them. Yep. And baby, get ready. Because y'all ain't seen no thing yet. So I just want to make sure that, and I like Claudia. I think she's smart. I think she's, you know, really attractive woman, but I think she was a little misinformed with whatever the commentary was on Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated. And that's not beef, sis. That's just making sure you're clear. 7 founders, baby. Illustrious.
Yeah, I'm gonna throw her a lifeline.
Throw what?
She made her little quip or whatever. She did say that I'm not familiar with any of the Greek or whatever. She said, I wasn't a Greek. I never studied it. I didn't understand. I don't know anything about it.
Yeah, I did hear that too. But what's really important? But what's really important is we realize, again, back to that always reading the headline and never the story, right?
Right.
Obviously, somebody, I believe James DuBose is a member of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. He's a GM of Fox Soul, right? Al Reynolds as well. So that's just a matter of being. We're going to chalk it off to whatever issue she was having with healing with her feet or whatever, and you know, whatever. But yeah, I just want to make sure that every opportunity we have to lift each other and magnify all of the great deeds and great things, greater purpose, greater progress, greater women, greater progress. I want to make sure we're aware of that when we have platforms like that. And we don't make mockeries out of organizations that have been around for 100 years doing the real work in the community. I think we do that too often in our community. And it's important for us to be informed and educated when we have platforms as big as that. So, you know, that's all. Yeah, I get it. I don't have no beef with Claudia. I just want to make sure it was clear that, you know, Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated isn't a junior nothing. Just like, you know, AKA Delta Zeta, you should know Sigma Gamma Rho too, because we really are a really powerful group of amazing, incredible women. So with that being said, I want to share a little bit of our performance, just a vocal. You guys, thank y'all for hanging out with me and my dear friend, Big Meech. And I want to have more of these conversations because I think having dialogue about issues that impact our community, at least we can talk about it and figure out if we can come up with some solutions to some of this madness, because it's on us. All right. So this is, y'all gonna listen on Instagram, but if you on Facebook, yeah, I still got my folks looking at YouTube and Facebook. This is Brown. support and respect. All right, guys. Well, thank y'all for hanging out with me and my good friend Big Meech for Nights with Nikki. This was fun. We did an hour and 30 minutes. It's all good. And you guys make sure it was a quick little hour and 30 minutes, wasn't it? Quick little hour. We're praying for Shanquella's family. We're praying for her mom. We hope that they find justice. We'll continue to follow the story. One thing I forgot to mention about that story is that the FBI is involved. So hopefully they will be able to get the family more details and more information. You guys, it's really, really sad. And this mean girl thing is really, really tired. And we love you, Pam. Thank you, Pam Credible, for hanging out with us. Oh my gosh, you guys, real quick. Thank you, Pam. Please go to FromTheBottomUpFoundation.org. FromTheBottomUpFoundation.org. Check out our new website. We have a really amazing, gotta plug this and then I'm gonna get out of here. We have a really amazing event coming up in Detroit. Meet, you gotta hang out. We're doing it at Cass Technical High School. We are honoring Bina Elliott from JP Morgan Chase. She is an amazing, she's one of those amazing, powerful sisters I was telling y'all about. Of course, we're going to reach out to all our sorors at Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated, and hopefully they'll come out. Hell, we might even get Claudia Jordan to come out, and and hang out. You know what I'm saying? So she can see the work we really doing in the community. But it is beauty, brains, and business. It is a panel discussion for millennials. It's the aunties and nieces edition. So we're really excited about that. That is happening in March of 2023. You can go to.
That's my birthday.
Okay, well then there it is. When's your birthday? March 9th? What is your birthday?
The 4th.
The 4th.
I take the whole month.
Oh, you celebrate your birthday. The whole March is my birthday, from the day one to the last day. So guys, it's Women's History Month. It is our 3rd annual She Speaks Live event. So it's going to be a whole lot of fun. Speaking of She Speaks Live, we'll be back in 2023. We got some amazing things happening with Brownstone, with Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated. We've got the new album coming out. So you guys follow Brownstone Official, follow Big Meech, follow Nikki Gilbert, follow Sigma Gamma Rho, what is it? SG Rho updates. And we love y'all. We love y'all. And we hope that you got something from this conversation that motivates you to contribute something good to our community, because our people truly deserve it. YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, y'all stick around with me for a minute. I got something else to show y'all. IG, I love you guys. All right. Peace, love. Thank you, Meech. Y'all have a good one. Bye. Oh, that was a good one. We had a nice little group over there on Instagram. So my people on Facebook, my people on LinkedIn, Twitter, and YouTube. I want to thank you guys. I wanted to show you, I had a couple other little goodies that I wanted to share with y'all here. Is this it? Years ago. Okay, now y'all can hear me. The whole time y'all couldn't hear me. Y'all, I apologize for that. They had an old school telephone, which I got a kick out of. Bucharest, which is one of my favorite restaurants ever in the whole wide world. Bucharest has the best chicken salad ever. They got the cool Shinola bicycles outside. And guess what's right across the street, guys? The Gucci store. I did not go into the Gucci store because I got a whole lawsuit happening. And then me and my girls went into the evening bar and we had some cocktails, our little lemon drops, and lots of cheers. Ladies and gentlemen, thank y'all for hanging out with your girl for Nights with Nikki. I hope that you all got some valuable information from this dialogue. Please make sure that you go to wirfmedia.com. Please make sure that you support FromTheBottomUpFoundation.org. And please make sure that you educate any of your friends that don't know who or what Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated is. Let them know it is the real deal, full of a whole bunch of powerful, amazing, incredible women. So we don't have another black woman on national TV saying silly things like what occurred on that show. But, you know, like I said, we're going to be easy with each other and forgive each other for the things that we don't know. But we want to educate, inform, uplift, and inspire. Okay, so I think that is it. I love y'all. I appreciate you guys for watching. Let's say again a prayer for Shanquella and her family. Let's hope that they find out exactly what happened to this beautiful young sister, and stop endorsing mean girl behavior, because at the end of the day, it ain't helping nobody. Obviously, a young woman lost her life because of it. Okay, guys. Nights with Nikki. We will see you next time. Stay tuned.